I want you to go back to the time when you were sitting your A-level maths exam, right? You probably thought that calculus was one of the hard subjects, or vectors, or whatever it is. Let's not think about that right now. Let's actually think about maybe like year 8 or year 9, or maybe even some of you prime school, prime numbers. You can probably list them from your head. 2, 3, 5, 7, the list just goes on, right? Simple, you can't really do anything about them. It's just that the number itself cannot be divided by any other number besides itself and 1. So its only factors are itself and 1. Right, that's what a prime number is. And let's go back to primary school actually. Let's think about addition, sums, right? 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, 5 plus 5 is 10. Easy, right? There's nothing complex about that. Well, it does get a bit complex when you start to combine these ideas. And I would like to show you what's known as the crown of number theory, Goldbach's conjecture. It is a problem that was stated by Christian Goldbach. That stated, well, it wasn't stated, but this is how it's shown now. Any even number greater than 2 can be expressed as a sum of 2 prime numbers. There you go. That's your link to sums and prime numbers I was talking about earlier. Easy, right? It sounds easy. It's just like, even I think probably a year 8 could understand what's being said here. There's nothing complex about it. But its true complexity comes into proving it. That's why it's conjecture, right? It hasn't been proven yet. What's so hard about proving it though? Right? Because you look, 6 equals 3 plus 3. 18 is, 13 plus 5. I mean, what else can that be? Like, can't you just keep going on forever and ever? Yeah, people have went all the way up to 4 times 10 power 18, which is put into words as 4 quintillion numbers, which is quite a lot. This still doesn't prove anything though. The reason they've done this is to have a disproof by counterexample, which simply states that a single example that disproves this conjecture will completely have this conjecture fall apart. It will no longer be true. But this has yet to happen. There's not a single number that denies this conjecture. I mean, what if there were a finite number of primes, so surely you can just keep going and have every single sum of prime numbers and then prove it that way by proof by exhaustion. Well, that'd be kind of difficult since there are infinite number of prime numbers. And we can actually prove this. We can prove this by contradiction. Let's assume that there is a finite number of primes. This is the negation of our proof that we're trying to prove, which is that there's an infinite number of primes, of prime numbers. Okay, that's our negation statement. And let's let P, it's just a random variable set of numbers, and let's have in this set every single prime number. Of course, there's a finite number of prime numbers, so there's an end, and let's call that P of n, which is the last prime number in this set. And let's have another number. Well, let's have a number called n. Let's call it n, and this number is defined as this product of every prime number in P plus 1. This plus 1 is kind of crucial to this proof, as you'll see now. Let's divide n by every single prime in P. When you do that, you actually get a remainder of 1. So what does that show? There's a remainder of 1 when I divide this by every prime number, which kind of shows that there's a contradiction. Now I'll explain why. You know the fundamental theorem of arithmetic where either the number itself is a prime, or it can be expressed as a product of primes. This kind of negates the statement that fundamental theorem of arithmetic, as n has a remainder 1 despite being divided by every single prime number possible, which shows that either n itself is a prime, or n consists of a product of primes, right, due to the fundamental theory. But if n itself is a prime, n is not inside P, and if it's a product of primes, that's not divisible by any number in P. Therefore, these product of primes are outside of P as well. So these both negate the statement that P has every single prime number. So, therefore, by contradiction, there is an infinite number of prime numbers. You probably have learnt this proof, done your time revising for A-levels, but I want to reiterate it again. Now we know we can't simply just exhaust every possible scenario, every sum of prime numbers, of two prime numbers. It's kind of impossible when there's an infinite number though. Well, is there any way that we can express a prime number as a formula and then we can algebraically show that this is true for each prime number? I mean, people have tried that. That's my sen prime, so I'm at prime, so 2 to the power n plus 1, 2 to the power n minus 1, and so on and so forth. So these aren't exact proofs. They don't show every single prime number, nor is every number here a prime number in itself. So I'll move on from that. And let's move on from this. There's actually two Goldbach conjectures. There's a weak one and a strong one. The weak one states that for every, let me check this real quick, I don't want to get this wrong, that'll be embarrassing. That for every odd number greater than 5 is the sum of 3 primes. And the strong Goldbach conjecture is the one I showed to you at the beginning. Okay, cool. So what is the difference between this weak one and the strong one? Obviously, this one's about odd numbers, even numbers, greater than 5, greater than 2, some are 2 primes, some are 3 primes, yeah. What's so special about this weak one though? Well, if I prove the strong one, it automatically proves that this weak one is true. However, this does not go for the other way around. Because if someone were to prove that the weak Goldbach conjecture is true, it will not thus prove that the strong Goldbach conjecture is true. And actually, someone has proved that the weak Goldbach conjecture is true. And thus, that's half of the problem gone, to be fair. Now, it's just, this one is still boggling people's mind. There was actually $1 million bounty during the history of mathematics to see if anyone could really do anything about it. It was sad to see that no one could so far. Maybe one of you guys could eventually in the future prove the Goldbach conjecture, but so far no good. I mean, it's a beautiful way. You might think, what's the application of this? Well, what's the point? Why are so many mathematicians putting themselves through this insanity for this conjecture? And simply, well, to me, I think they do it for the passion. There's nothing else to it, really. I don't think there's any grand revelation if you do prove it. Well, there would be, but I don't think there'd be anything world-changing, per se. So I think the Goldbach conjecture is one of the best ways to show people that mathematics isn't just to benefit the world, it's just to show passion for what you really want. I love maths in itself, and I think the Goldbach conjecture is the materialization of that, where these mathematicians have spent their entire lives trying to prove it. Maybe for the fame, maybe for the glory, but also because they have a passion for it. You can't You don't spend your entire life trying to prove something if you don't have a passion for it, if you don't aspire to do it. And I think that's what mathematics is really about. To just keep going because you love it. And yeah, thank you.